Hello friends, welcome back to my kitchen. We've been having a lot of fun here together over the last few weeks, well maybe a couple weeks, and Thanksgiving is less than 2 weeks away. And I like to prep some things before the day of, or the day before, so it limits how much I'm in the kitchen. And I can focus on getting the house set or, other things. So we are hosting this year. Maybe you're not hosting, but maybe you work a full-time job or other things are consuming your time that you need these little ideas. How can you get things prepped in advance? So I'm going to be sharing quite a few of them over the next few days, hopefully to give you guys some ideas. So today we're doing the cream of mushroom soup for the green bean casserole. And it's good ideas of how you can make these things healthier and better for your family. Hopefully you have these things sitting in your pantry, or I'll give you ideas. So I'm going to share, I'm kind of working around the real recipe for cream of mushroom soup using what I have in stock, but I will leave the link to a good cream of mushroom soup that if you just have the individual ingredients versus ready things, you'll see what I mean. So the first thing that we need to do is, I started this morning rehydrating a whole bunch of mushrooms. So you need, a lot of recipes will say pounds, but a dehydrated or freeze-dried mushroom isn't going to weigh the same as a rehydrated mushroom. So I need to measure out 1.5 pounds of these mushrooms. I kind of just guessed that five cups might get me there. So we're a little over 1/2 pound. And this is a variety of wild mushrooms, and I believe in all things variety is the spice of life, whether that's me making homemade tomato sauce or pizza sauce with a variety of tomatoes. You're definitely going to get more flavor always in depth and what's the right words that fancy chefs use? Complexity. I don't think I'm going to have quite 1.5 pounds. So I think we're right at 1.25. So what I may do is if I need extra liquid to thin out this mushroom soup, I'm going to save this like mushroom water and we'll get some extra mushroom flavor in that. So I'm going to add in all of those mushrooms. And notice they're still quite big pieces. That's okay because we're going to take a blender to it later. Okay, now the recipe is going to tell you to use stock and onions for this process. I'm using already canned French onion soup. So it's got lots of yummy already in it and the onions, and I need 1.5 cups. Okay. And I'll save this too, just in case we need more liquid. If not, both of those things would be great for making further gravies too. So I'm not gonna toss these. If anything, I will combine them and throw them down in the freezer, and it would be great liquid to add to gravies or anything that you're adding to. Okay, and then some thyme. Probably like a teaspoon of thyme. And now we're going to heat this up. And I'm going to go over medium-low heat probably for like 10 to 15 minutes just to really soften those mushrooms up. While the cream of mushroom soup is going behind me, we're actually going to make our cornbread too for our dressing / stuffing. So I'm going to go ahead and get my skillet preheating with a couple tablespoons of bacon grease. You could use shortening, you could use butter. I think we need to make more bacon. Our bacon grease jar is getting low. Do you guys have a bacon grease jar in your fridge or on your counter, wherever you keep it? I know when it's getting low, it's time to make more bacon. Okay, so I'm just going to set that in there while the oven's preheating, and that'll get good and melted. Okay, we're going to go in with an egg. Room temperature would be best. Always for baking, let's go in with a cup of our, oh, I need to beat that first. Sorry, all I have is metal on metal, so close your ears. Okay, we're gonna go in with a cup of milk, 1.5 cups. So what it really should have is buttermilk. So I have whole milk here. I'm gonna do a cup of buttermilk, then 1/2 cup of kefir, because that's what I have in the fridge. Nice thick and sour. Okay, let's go in with 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. Okay, I'm using a self-rising corn mill. If you're not using self-rising corn mill, you would need to add salt, I think, and baking soda. Whoops. So we need 2 cups of that. And then I'm just going to go in with like a tablespoon of sugar, or you could use honey or maple syrup to sweeten it if you like. If you don't want any sweetness to it, you can totally leave that out. Okay, and then we'll stir this all up. And then as soon as that oven's preheated behind us, we'll be able to toss this in the skillet. Okay, so they're definitely simmering well now. I'm going to let these mushroom pieces really soften. Some of them are quite meaty pieces, so it's not that they're not soft. I'm just trying to get them more tender, I guess is the point. And then we're going to take my immersion blender to it. If you don't have an immersion blender, you could put this in like a food processor or stand-up blender. But it is already smelling so delicious using that French onion soup. Oh, yummy, yummy, yummy. Okay, the oven's preheated. I'm going to grab that cast iron skillet out. Roll around that bacon grease. If you aren't in the habit of cooking your cornbread in a cast iron skillet with melted fats in it first, you are missing out on probably my most favorite crunch on all bread crust. Okay, now we're going to put it back in the oven at the same temperature, 425, and bake it for 25 to 30 minutes. And I think that oops, where are you guys at? I think we're ready to blend away at our mushroom onion mixture. I'm not trying to get it totally liquid. Let me scoop some up so you can see. Can you guys see that? I don't want to drop it on my hand because it's pretty hot. So it's, you know, got a nice texture to it. Just trying to break up the big bits. I think that's good. Now I need this pot to make a roux, so I need to scoop this off and I'll be right back. All right, now we're gonna melt the butter in the same saucepan, and that's 3 tablespoons of butter. Once it's melted, we're gonna add equal parts flour, so 3 tablespoons of flour, whisk that, just until the flour starts smelling yummy and the oil's absorbed into the flour, and then we're going to add in milk and our mushroom mixture back. And you're just gonna whisk this constantly until that flour absorbs all this. I'm gonna stop whisking for a minute. Whisk this constantly until that flour absorbs all the oil and you start to smell. You don't want the roux to burn, so I'm doing this over a medium, more low than medium heat. And just take your time with it. But you're gonna get a really yummy aroma that starts to pop. Smelling the smell I like to smell, we're gonna go in with a little pepper. And this is salt and pepper to taste. And some salt. Okay, I have my mushroom mixture right here. So I'm gonna add a cup of milk to that and stir. This is actually heavy cream, probably 3/4 of a cup of heavy cream, and you could use full cream. And I didn't, that's all the heavy cream I had, so I topped it off with just whole milk. And then we're gonna slowly whisk this in. Kind of like making a gravy if you've ever made a gravy from scratch. Okay, yep, I thought it would need more broth. I'm glad I saved this. This is a little way too thick for my liking. So I'm gonna mix in some of that mushroom soup and, you know, mushroom water French onion soup that I saved. I kind of just combined it. It's nice and bubbly. I'm gonna give it a taste and see if it needs anything else. Now you can add a tablespoon of Marsala wine or sherry to it. I do have sherry out, so yummy, yummy. It is nothing like Campbell's condensed cream of mushroom soup. It is so much heartier, so much more flavor. Like the first time I ever made it, I'm like, what have I been using my whole life? It will completely change your world if you want to take the time to do it. And you saw, it really wasn't that much time. So I'll leave a link to bulk dehydrated mushrooms, and it's just such a nice thing to have in your pantry. So we're going to stir that in. I think it's salty enough, and I'm probably going to salt and pepper other dishes that I'm making, so I don't think I'm going to add anything else to it. And we have, this will make, I should jar it up for you guys because I'm going to freeze it. And I know I use the same spoon. This is for my family. It is okay. It's buttery. It's yummy. Oh, so good. Let me turn this heat off. It's done. And I'm going to go get some jars downstairs. We're going to ladle this off in jars. I'd guess probably 2 quarts. I should do this actually in pints because you rarely need a full quart of cream of mushroom soup in a recipe. And then last Thanksgiving I did this, and you're set with cream of mushroom soups for the rest of the year because at least for us, it's not a very common ingredient in things that we cook. All right, I just ran downstairs and grabbed 4 wide mouth pint jars because wide mouths are always better to freeze in than, you know, something with a shoulder on it. And I'm only going to fill, I'm going to leave a good hefty 1.5 inches of headspace for any expansion in the freezer. This would be delicious over a meatloaf. Oh my gosh, I'm just thinking all the yummy ways I want to use it. So I think I'm going to get 1.5 pints. And this could certainly be thinned out even more using that French onion soup that I had, or if you had more chicken stock or beef stock that you wanted to use. And you're going to see that the recipe calls for a lot of things. Like it called for chicken stock, beef bouillon cube. Like I'm trying to think of what things I didn't use. But I wanted to give you guys a base in case that you have not like a ready-made. French onion soup has a lot of depth of flavor in it already, so I didn't feel the need to go in with more flavor. And this is super flavorful. And if it wasn't for green bean casserole, I might thin it down even more, but this is perfect for what I'm going to be using it for. And when it comes time to pull it out of the freezer, we can always do that. So, ta-da! Some yummy homemade cream of mushroom soup in like really less than 30 minutes total, except for my rehydrating time, which you might not have if you're, you know, have fresh mushrooms. And then we have like less than 10 minutes on our cornbread. So really less than 30 minutes in the kitchen and you have 2 homemade things ready. And if you're using, I guess, what am I doing the cornbread for, right? I told you guys for the dressing or stuffing, whatever you call it. And why I do a mix of cornbread and white regular bread. Let me show you. I got that made yesterday. So this is a small loaf of whole wheat regular bread, and I'll take that down with me to the freezer when I throw these things in. Another reason to pull ahead as much as you can. 2 dishes. One side of the sink is full. So how many loads of dishes do we do when we're preparing a big feast like Thanksgiving here? Loads and loads of dishes are going through a kitchen. So give yourself a break and just pull a couple things ahead, whether it's dessert, whether it's even just, say, chopping and prepping items, things like that. Think about all those little things that you can pull ahead. Let me tell you what's coming up. We're going to do a cranberry relish. We're going to do our sweet potato casserole. What else is on the menu? Let me pull out my menu. I'll share a fun idea too. So, I inherited this little book from my grandmother. And it's been through a lot of years with me, but I started keeping my homemade recipes in it. It was just a special little nothing. She's got some handwritten notes in it, some sketches. She was an artist, so she didn't use it for cooking, but this one's titled Holiday Memories. And forever, well, I should say since Todd and I have been together, I've been keeping track of all of our holiday menus or things I brought, who was there, where did we go. So switching, and it's mostly Christmas and Thanksgiving if that sausage is done. Okay, so I got Thanksgiving 2025 planned. Let me pull out that cornbread. Stop. Oh yeah, nice. Pretty good. Alrighty, so we're having ham and turkey. We're having green bean casserole, our stuffing, our cranberry relish. So I'm going to do a video on that. Sweet potato casserole. I'm going to do a video on that. Honey glazed carrots. I'm not going to do a video. That's very easy to just pull together the day of. Biscuits gravy. Don't think I'll do a video on that. Maybe I'll do a video on my biscuits. How about that? Deviled eggs, pumpkin pie, and the pecan pie cheesecake. So I do have a video already on the channel. It's called Granny Wyatt's Pumpkin Pie. I'm going to share that definitely during this advanced season. I have had hundreds of people make it and say it changed their life. It is very, very different from a boxed pumpkin pie that you're going to buy. It is light, it's fluffy, it's more custardy, it is just delicious. And that is from my granny. And the pecan pie cheesecake dip I made for the first time last year for our gluten-free daughter-in-law. And it's a great way to get the pecan pie flavor without having to make a pie. And you just use like graham crackers or, you know, whatever you want to dip. And she has her favorite gluten-free graham crackers that we get. And it was a huge hit. That went almost as fast as our pumpkin pie. So let me do that one too, because that stores well. So you can pull that ahead a couple days anyway. Alrighty, so what did we get done? Look down here with me. Very fast. We have our cornbread. We have our cream of mushroom soup. I already had my bread from yesterday, and we still have a lot of leftover. I need to relabel this lid. leftover flavored water, flavored concentrate for future recipes. So I need to let this cool. I'm going to get it out of the pan. And we are, okay, let that cool. And then I'm going to, just go ahead and pre-break it up and put it in a Ziploc bag down in the freezer. That is hot, hot, hot. Not the right tool.